Reminder, coming up in about 5 minutes, Ryan Fowler will join us live from Mobile for the Senior Bowl, and we'll get the latest on some of the standouts from Mobile. Some good stuff going on as we get ready for the NFL Draft. The Senior Bowl, I believe, is February the 1st, and I believe it's on the NFL Network, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
is he
correct.
joining us right now? All right, good stuff. I appreciate that. So, yeah. The Reese's Senior Bowl live from Mobile, Alabama, coming up on the NFL Network February 1st. And we want to get the latest. So what's going on with some of the local guys out of Tech, out of UVA. Does UVA players qualify for this there, Jayla?
I don't know. We got one.
Here you go again. Here you go again.
I'm sorry. I can't. It's hard to resist.
Yes.
My man Jonas Sanker, one of the best safeties in the country. Come
All
on,
right.
man.
Yeah. Hang your hat on that one.
See? No.
Joining us right now, you can follow him on the X @ Ryan Fowler _ NFL college football analyst for the Draft Network down in Mobile this week. Ryan, good morning. How are you, my friend?
Good morning, fellas. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little Senior Bowl. Let's talk about some of the dudes you've looked at. I noticed you had a posting last night. We're familiar up here with the Sun Belt, obviously, with Old Dominion. Marshall, you got a little feature on. Who is that? Mike Green over there? Marshall looking pretty good in Mobile. Who else out of the Sun Belt has really kind of, I guess, grabbed your attention with some of the workouts this week?
I'll say, really, I definitely want to talk about Mike Green, guys, if I can.
Yeah.
He came into the week, obviously a guy that's from a G5 school. And, when you're an NFL scout and you talk to these teams as far as, hey, great, you dominated lower level competition, but can you come to the premier draft showcase down here in Mobile and compete against some of these guys that are going to be NFL starters? And for Mike, that played around 240 this year for Marshall, comes in, checks the boxes at 251, and he was dominant all week long. Now, I'm not going to say he's winning every rep easy, looking out there like Miles Garrett or TJ Watt. I'm not going to throw those comparisons around, but he looked like a first-round player. And that's what scouts wanted to see. Now, he opted out of the Senior Bowl. He came here for 2 days, so what he needed to show. Now he's going back home to prepare for the rest of this draft process. But he checked all the boxes here, and that's what you wanted to see from a quote-unquote lower-level prospect. And I don't think he gets out of his top 32 picks as far as what he can do as a pass rusher, and then also turning on his tape is what he can do as an early down run defender, which is extremely impressive for a guy that is upwards of that 245, 250 pounds.
Look, that's interesting. So you just educated me, which is, trust me, it's not hard to do. I did not realize that you could actually go down for the workouts for a couple of days and just not even participate over the weekend.
Yeah, it's becoming a trend here these last 2 years. When agents get in their ear and executives get in the ear, because all these guys meet at the Senior Bowl, where it's different from other showcases where all these guys meet with all 32 teams. It doesn't happen at Shrine, CGS, Tropical Hula Bowl. They meet with every single team here. And if you're going out and you're showcasing yourself day 1, day 2, just a few years ago, Jermaine Johnson from Florida State that ended up as the first-round pick of the Jets. He came down 1 day. Same with DeJuan Jones from went to Cleveland Browns. Competed 1 day, showed what he needed to show, and showed up in street clothes the rest of the time down here. So it's becoming a trend. I personally don't like it. I want to see guys compete.
Yeah.
But when agents get in your ear and money's involved, you can see why these guys start to opt out.
Yeah, Ryan Fowler is joining us here on the program. And, of course, you can follow him on the X @ Ryan Fowler _ NFL college football analyst for the Draft Network. And, of course, the Senior Bowl going to be this weekend on the NFL Network. Who else has stood out? And we got to talk some ACC. Look, one of our fine members of this radio program is a big UVA fan there, Ryan. Yeah. So I kind of bang on him a little bit. Like, do they still play football at UVA? I was just curious. But who else has stood out? And talk a little bit about any maybe UVA, any Tech guys that have caught your eye.
Absolutely. Let's definitely talk some guys down there in Blacksburg. Very impressed with Dorian Strong, Anais Peebles, Spatial Tutons down here, as is Jalen Lane. Jalen was a guy I was very interested to see this week. What he did down there in Blacksburg this year. He's a guy, I talked to a lot of scouts in the spring that had day 2 grades on him, so second round, third round. Now, did he live up to that expectation this year? For me, no. I think he was underutilized down there in Blacksburg, but I was impressed with what I've seen so far through 2 days from Jalen. But the guy or 2 guys from Tech that have just certified themselves as NFL contributors. And from Dorian Strong's perspective on the outside, I think he's going to be a guy that could be a CB2 for an NFL defense. He can run, he can play man, he's long, he's physical, he can change direction. Very impressed with what Dorian Strong's done down here this week. And then Anais Peebles, transferring in from another ACC school in Duke. He's not overpowering in one-on-ones. I didn't expect him to dominate in that fast set. He does well playing off of guys with bumpers to either shoulder. But his ability in teamwork to just absolutely dominate the ground game, work into the backfield, and then working on twists and stunts around guys, reducing angles. Very, very, very impressed with Anais. That some scouts said he's a little bit too small, the length isn't there. I completely disagree. I think you have to have an appreciation for being just a fundamentally good football player, and I think that's what Anais is, and I absolutely expect him to go decently high in this draft, maybe round 3, early portions of round 4. And then for the UVA guys, I've really liked the game of Jonas Sanker this year. Cavalier, you always know what you're kind of going to get. Very smart, intelligent, wins from the shoulders up. They don't get a lot of attention as a program overall, as we know, guys, but Jonas is a guy I think can play multiple levels for a defense. He'll cut his teeth on special teams if you have to. I think he's one of the more underrated safeties in this class. Now, I'm not going to say he's a second rounder, third rounder. He's going to go on day 3 most likely, but he's the type of guy that comes into a building, helps you round out your locker room, round out your defense, and does a lot of things for you, and overall helps you win championships down the road for a defense.
JLo, do you own that T-shirt, by the way, that Ryan just put out about UVA football? UVA football, we win from the shoulders up. Do you own that T-shirt at all? T-shirt. Not at all? Okay.
No.
I'm just curious if you do or not. I guess one of the more concerning things, though, Ryan, there was a huge spotlight on the HBCU a couple of years ago. But how many participants? Like 1 or 2, right? That's it that we got this week?
Down here. Just one this week. Carson Vincent from Alabama A&M. And usually there's a couple. Sometimes over the years, Marquise Bell or Mark Perry, that was at Shrine from Arkansas Pine Bluff. But only one this year down here in Mobile. But Carson Vincent's had a really nice week.
Before I let you go, obviously we got to talk quarterbacks. Can we talk a little bit about the quarterbacks this week? Who's impressed you?
Yeah, day 1 was ugly. And I will say this. When you're installing offense in a neutral environment, alternate settings, these guys haven't worked with each other. It is ugly. You got the kid from Canada here, from Laurier, Taylor Elgersma. You can see it's a completely different game that he's playing down here. He's never worked from under center. His footwork is all wonky. He looks like, 11, 12-year-old learning to play the sport for the first time, in my honest opinion. But no one wants to hear about him. They want to hear about Jalen Milroe. They want to hear about Jackson Dart. Yesterday was better from both those guys. I think both those guys are going to be valued from a team in this draft where they're going to come in and compete for a starting job. I don't expect either of their names right now to be heard on day 1, but all it takes, guys, is one team to fall in love with the skill set, and you're going to be in a building to be your face of the franchise. But beautiful deep throws, vertical touch from both guys yesterday, 7-on-7 work, just taking the little things, playing with confidence, letting that thing rip. Don't be a robot, specifically with Jalen Milroe. You're one of the best athletes in this class. Act like it, be like it, and I think that's what the biggest thing is going to be, the selling trait on Jalen Milroe. So quarterbacks have been fine this week. I'll give them a C grade so far through 2 days, and hopefully we see a little bit more here in the next couple hours as practice 3 gets going here in Mobile.
Now, look, Suave, I believe Ryan's a Commanders guy. Are you a Commanders guy, Ryan? Is that correct? Are you a big Commanders guy?
I grew up in the Northern Virginia area. I used to work for the team. Still follow them, of course. I am a Commanders guy.
So look, I got a couple of fanboys when it comes to the Commanders on the radio program. Suave, is there anything you would like to ask Ryan about maybe something at the Senior Bowl that could benefit your Commanders coming up with the NFL draft?
I mean, if need be, that's the question right there. Like, what we need for Washington Commanders. So, what would be who's the biggest prospect that Commanders should go after?
Yeah, I think, you look at corner. I think you look at edge. I talked about Mike Green, with Washington going from the 2nd overall pick last year to now 29 this year. They're going to be in a good spot to get whoever they want as far as edge, corner, or wide receiver 2 to get behind Terry McLaurin. But I think if there's one guy, I'll say 2 guys, I think that are interested at least this week. Mike Green from Marshall, we talked about at the top, and then Quincy Riley, the corner from Louisville. He was supposed to come down here last year, and he backed out, so went back to Louisville, heard from one of his coaches at Louisville, said, hey, Quincy believes he's a first-round guy. He's not getting those types of grades right now from scouts. He's going to go back to school, come back down here next year, and prove himself. And that's what he's done so far, through 2 days of practice. So Quincy Riley at 29, corner from Louisville, great week. So he and Mike Green, as far as guys down here in Mobile, are two names to keep an eye on there at 29 when we get to April.
Look, folks, great stuff. The NFL draft is right around the corner. Of course, we're going to hammer it every day on the radio program because that's what you do when the football season is over. And the Senior Bowl is going on this weekend. You don't want to miss it on the NFL Network. And, of course, our guest, Ryan Fowler, you could follow all of his stuff at _Ryan Fowler _ NFL college football analyst for the Draft Network. Ryan, always a pleasure, my friend. Enjoy Mobile this week, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Talk a little draft,
Thanks so
all
much.
right?
Yes, sir. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, brother.
Thanks,
we
Ryan.
appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the radio program. Look, people get passionate about the draft.
Of course.
Are you guys like one of those draft heads where you're looking at the mock draft boards and who's going where? Now, look, as a Bills fan, not really used to it until late in the first round. I just got to tell you. As a Commander guy, you guys have been really used to top 10 picks. A little bit different this year.
Absolutely. I don't know the last time to say Washington had a late 20s draft pick that I can really think of, honestly. Because, we've always been either top 10 or within the middle
problem is
pack.
we're always in the middle.
That's exactly, To say that we're not the last, like the 20s, this is going to be something for us.
Yeah. Well, look, if you missed any of our Ryan Fowler interview, we'll put it up on the YouTube page at Cova Sports TV. We'll cut that, baby. I'll put it up on the X this afternoon at Drive Johnny D as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. You got the the Senior Bowl, going on this week down in Mobile. All right, look.